subscribing to the channel. Everything that we do all for you. First and foremost, I'd like to say a very Merry Christmas to you guys in advance. Yes, Big Lala, Merry Christmas. How are
You
we doing the
too. Merry
Christmas season?
Christmas.
Yes,
Merry
quite a lot of
Christmas.
Nigerians are celebrating Christmas in Nigeria, elsewhere, everywhere. It's the Christmas season, and it seems this Christmas is really Christmasing because 30 December is in full effect. In
Mhm.
Lagos, Nigeria, everyone going to shows almost every other day. There are shows every now and then. The big guys are also not left out in the picture. As regards the December shows, lots of people are going to these shows. Unfortunately, the one that happened in London, two casualties already. Mm-hmm. The Ashake concert,
And one
so
children.
so so sad. It is really really sad, and we just want to say we wish Ashake all the best at the show in Lagos, and we commiserate with condolences to the families of those who lost the people at the concerts in at the O2 Brixton. Big Lala, it is the end of the year report. The Gusto end of the year report card is here once again. We've done this for the past 3 years right now, and we're
Mhm.
back again to do this one. This time around, it's going to take a new, dimension. We're having not just one person, not two, but three people back to back every other day. Could be once, could be twice a day. But yes, on this one, the very first one for the year 2022, we have Burna Boy, we have Arya Starr, and we have Oxlade in the mix. No comparison. We are just analyzing their 2022. Let's start off with Burna Boy, who actually has been one major artist, to reckon with in the year 2022 in Africa, in Nigeria, all over the world. Last being the major single. Now let's talk about that one. Do you think Last as a single is that one song that helped Burna Boy to some sort of acclaim in 2022?
Well, I'd like to say internationally, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it actually added to his, already known reputation in the
Yeah.
international scene. That song was a phenomenon for Burna Boy.
Was a hit.
Yeah, it's on course to become. I know we argue this. His last lag big is the biggest Burna Boy song, and I was arguing that at that very moment it wasn't, but it's on its way. It's on its way to become Burna Boy's biggest ever record. It's gonna smash whatever Ondilo had done in the nearest
Mhm.
future if he hasn't already. It's created. From continent to continent, that song is just a hit for Burna Boy, and it's done wonders for him. Yes, it is that hit single that kind of like I won't say paved the way for him in 2022, but it did the business for him in 2022. Last, then coupled with some other records that were off his album and his strategic moves, um, also during the year 2022. Not just last, but he had his plenty was was doing the business in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Some other songs, even from his previous hour of songs, when you see him perform these songs at shows, it feels like he does have a cult following in several countries of the world, and it's good. It's a good thing to see.
Yeah. Despite the fact that Last as a single was one major, Burna Boy song, he went ahead to drop the album Love Damini in
Yeah.
2022 as well. Apart from that, he sold out the MSG, sold out Zigo Dome, sold out the State
Hmm.
Farm, sold out, a couple of other, venues actually
Hmm.
in the year 2022. Which would you say is the most remarkable of those venues that Burna Boy sold out?
It has to be the MSG because that was breaking new grounds. MSG was such a big deal for Ghana. He was the first
Hmm.
Nigerian artist to to give that a try, and it was
Yeah.
a great thing. Before MSG, he's done Hollywood Bowl and the likes, and it all
Yes.
just led up to that very much moment and the whole excitement about him doing the MSG, and people couldn't
Yeah.
contain it, and he did give a show and he pulled the crowd, which is the most important thing. He really did well, and kudos to him.
Burna Boy in 2022 also had the album, like we said. Do you think Last was the only standard track from that album?
Not particularly. Like I said, "Is Plenty"
Yeah,
was doing the business. "Is Plenty" is one of the most streamed songs by Burna Boy
on the
in
album.
Nigeria. Yeah, on the album. Last Last was something that gave him international acclaim, which
Yeah.
you have to admit. But it's not the only hit song. There are other songs on there that did the business, but those two songs were perhaps the two most streamed songs on that album, which isn't bad to have.
But a lot of people actually kind of give Burna Boy some tagged in the Artist of the Year due to Last Last and the awards he's gotten as well. Burna Boy lost a couple of awards this year, apart from winning a couple as well. He won the
Okay.
MUBA Awards this year for Best International Act, Best
Yeah.
African Actor as well. He lost,
Yeah.
I think, the MTV VMAs to Whiskey, you know, that's Whiskey and Beyonce.
But he also won
And
the
of course,
MTV EMA, isn't it?
yes, I think he won the MTV VMAs as well. Yeah. Now, for awards, with Burna Boy. Do you think it had more in 2021 than in 2022?
I actually think this year, 2022, was.
Hmm.
Last year, most of the awards I think went to we. Him and Wiz were battling for some. This year,
Yeah.
at the Headies, Wiz packed a lot of the. Seeing the year in review of Headies, Wiz
Yeah.
was able to pack up a lot of those awards. But he came on with two awards at the
Yeah.
Headies. One, the MTV EMA. He's been what's it called, nominated again for the Grammy with
Yeah.
with two nominations.
That's
Um,
2022 as well. Yeah.
yeah, and at the year-end list that we're seeing from all these DSPs, he's coming out top in most of them. He's coming out top as the number one most streamed Nigerian acts on Spotify, on Apple,
Yeah.
on what's it called? What's the last one? Apple, Spotify. There's one other one that he's come out tops on, right? Those are the
Mhm.
major platforms, and that is done. So those are things that he has been able to achieve this year in a year where people might feel maybe he's not perhaps been as visible because of the competition that surfaced with um with Wiz and the likes. But I do actually think he's done really well. He's held his ground this year. Last Class has
Yeah.
been phenomenal for him. Yeah. And like I said, these awards that he won may not have been the biggest of awards, but he's in line to win these other awards again. His song, like I
Yeah.
said, Last Class has been a phenomenal, was also ranked as the most streamed Nigerian or sub-Saharan African song of the year.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It did a madness for him, and it will win him awards in the coming months, definitely.
And during the course of the year, Burna Boy was upset that the song Last Last wasn't adjudged by the Westerners like they did for Whiskey as the song of the summer. Do you think this song actually in 2022 deserved the song of the summer by Burna Boy?
I think the demography is what makes the difference, right? Demography is important. While, for example, in the UK or last, especially when it was at the carnival, the Notting
Yeah.
Carnival, and people were jamming last so much. But Notting Carnival is also something that's been celebrated by people who are predominantly black people of Caribbean and African descent. You get, they
Yeah.
come in and do their thing, and that's a strong base for Burna Boy. So that moment of him looking at that and saying, "Oh, why is this song not song song?" But it's just from a demographic kind of thing. It would might be called song of the summer for that demography, but it needed to
Because
cross
yeah.
the other um, IC1 demography, which it did to an extent because we saw several videos on social media where
Yeah.
people of that demography were enjoying or jamming to the song.
Yeah.
You get.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it didn't have to really, really compete and say, oh, he wanted to compete with Essence and being called song with someone. I think he did his bits in his own way, and it's something for him to be proud of.
Of course, the fans know that there's this very cocky side, to Burna Boy. Burna Boy, talented, amazing artist, also very cocky. Is people say he's proud.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh, he's the African giant and everything. Burna Boy,
Mhm.
and of course, controversies in 2022, as this guy lived up to the billing of the bad boy.
Of course, every year there has to be something to talk
Yeah,
about Burna Boy when it comes to whether he's what he said or
yeah,
or how he's reacted to somebody else. But I think this year, not as much as before, but yes, there were some moments where
Which
I
would
mean he had it.
which would you regard as the biggest Burna Boy controversial moment this year?
Well, I think his fight with FC would always stand out. The biggest
Hmm.
controversial one was when he said if Wiz wasn't his guy, he
This
would have
guy is
smashed
gonna
him.
deck whiskey.
So yeah, I think that was the biggest controversial moment of
Yeah,
Burna Boy. And I think again, I think we've covered this. It's swayed. I mean, it's had. I mean, effects perhaps on his friendship with Wiz. We
yeah.
don't know for sure, but that's what it looks on the outside. But yeah, I think that was his biggest controversial moment this year.
Mm. And one of the things that that stood out for people as well this year was Burna Boy dropping an album and omitting Whiskey from that album.
I won't see it as omitting whiskey because
That's what the fans think.
I know why people would think he omitted whiskey because I mean he dropped a song
Yeah,
Ballon d'Or,
Ballon d'Or. Yeah,
which was a single.
yeah.
Obviously, if you're planning for an album and you have such a single on it, then it should
Hmm.
make the
The
album, shouldn't
album.
it?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it didn't. So I can understand when people say things like that that he I mean omitted whiskey. But I don't choose to see it that way. I just think he decided perhaps not to have Wiz on the album. I don't know what reason it was, but he just decided not to.
Okay, and then looking at the album, this 2022 album for Burna Boy, a lot of people think Burna Boy uh, was trying to chase heat. Some think he was trying to chase the Grammys. Some think he was trying to just be himself. Which would you say Burna Boy, try to do in any of these three?
I don't think he was chasing hits. I think if you say he was chasing something, would definitely be the Grammys, which again
Hmm.
he's gotten the
He's
nominations for.
gotten the Grammy, yeah, nomination.
That's
Yeah,
definitely what he was chasing with this album. If he was chasing hits, I think he would drop more bangers. But the songs that he came up with, I think last is plenty, and some other records were able to momentarily give people jams to listen to. So I
yeah.
think that I don't think it was a case of him chasing hits at all. More of chasing an award in the Grammy again. Yeah.
Okay, so 2022 overall, would you say you've been impressed by Burna Boy?
To be honest, yes, I think musically I have, and also his success this year speaks
Yeah,
loudly for Burna. All the achievements he's been able to gather this year, the shows he's performed at, his performances at those shows in different countries. Right now, he's in Jamaica, he's in Suriname. He's doing wonders, right?
yeah,
And he's performing to large audience. I saw a video yesterday of him performing to uh, guy. I mean, to Jamaican at the Jamaican show. He's showing Jamaica,
Jamaica,
and
yeah,
he was kind of like singing bank on it, and the Jamaican fans were singing along to it. That just shows Burna Boy Okere, especially in those ends. He has this I
yeah.
mean, Caribbean thing that goes on with him, and he has a solid fan base over there, and they're doing he's doing the business for him. He's had wonderful year in terms of shows, performing at the biggest of crowds and biggest arenas, and the list goes on. Musically, he's done
Mm,
well. Love Damini, at least you can count two or three records on there that stand out that did the business for
yeah,
him. So of course,
yeah,
he's had a wonderful year to be honest. The year end list, he's making top
yeah,
most streamed songs on important platforms on
yeah.
Boomplay, Apple Music, on Spotify. Burna Boy's name is number one on those
He's on
lists.
Jay Z's list as well for
Yeah, it's on,
2022.
of course, it's on Jay Z's list as well, and he's doing really well. I think he's had a fantastic 2022.
Yeah, someone said Burna Boy has performed at over 32, over 52 premium shows. Like over, Burna was in Denmark at some point. He was in
Yeah,
Norway at some point. He was in
mhm.
Sweden at some point. He's gone to almost
Greece,
all the
a lot.
continents of this world.
Yeah,
This guy is still doing it. 2022 has been an amazing year for Burna Boy, definitely. So, what would you rate Burna Boy's 2022?
I think he's had a fantastic year. Definitely a high score. I don't know if I should use numbers this year, but because those numbers they always come back to bite me. I think you should have good, better, best, or no. How should I
No,
rate
no,
it?
no. Let's have numbers. Let's have
You
numbers
have
over 10.
numbers.
It's
I,
fine.
I, I
Oh, no,
think
no, no. Last year we did over 100. So, percentage right now. Let's do percentage. Yeah,
percentage
over
wise,
100%.
it's definitely a high percentage for Burna Boy. There's really nothing missing from the list of activities he has had to undergo
Mm.
this year. I think he really deserves something like a 8.5 over a year. That's 85%. Yeah,
85%
85%.
over
Uh,
100. Ah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I think that's a good thing for him that he's had so much of a good year.
Okay, so next in line, we've got the one and only Sabi girl in the building, Arya
Hmm.
Starr. Uh, Now, what is the most singular? What is the singular most controversial moment for Arya Starr in 2022?
I think it has to be with her appearance on shows. I think
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know why people have a problem with it. I think this is her. Maybe
yeah,
because it's Nigeria, but I think the most controversial moment is people coming out for her to because of how she dresses at shows.
yeah. It's
She's
her
always wearing
style.
skimpy fit. It's her style, and it works out for her. I mean,
Yeah,
that's her own brand, and it works out well for her.
yeah.
So I think that's the single most controversial moment for her.
Okay, Naira Star, of course, we know started the year quite all right, and then dropped the deluxe version of the 19 and Dangerous album. But do you think she got it quite late in terms of Rush as a hit song?
If we're going to look it like that, look at it like that, I think they had plans for 2022, but because maybe it
Mm,
has a lot of artists under them, maybe they and these days I don't even think they follow some sort of although they follow a release plan or
their
sort
plans
of
anymore,
rota
yeah.
in terms of the way they release. Maybe because they're such a big label, they're able to put resources aside for each individual artist, but between these artists, there is
Yeah,
always little or no space when they release. Ayra Starr can release today, and the next thing,
yeah,
what's his name is releasing. Koyon is releasing in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and it goes on and goes on. Maybe it's their intentional plan. I
yeah,
don't know, but the deluxe, I think they just wanted to get that out of the way. I don't. They've had it in mind to drop it, but I think because they didn't drop it, it was delaying other plans. So they decided, oh,
yeah.
let's just get that out of the way, and then we can move on with other things. And yes, and they
Mm-hmm.
did that, and then they dropped Wash. You can't argue that Wash was dropped at the wrong time because when it got dropped
Yeah,
and all the resources got pushed into it, it became a hit
yeah,
record in Nigeria, and it's still a hit record at the very moment. One of the songs that people look
yeah.
forward to in December. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And of course, when Arya Starr started in 2021 with the Arya Starr EP, 19 and Dangerous album to the deluxe album, how would you rate the growth from 2021 down to 2022 this year?
I think there's been definite growth, definite improvement from Ayasta's regard. She went from being a newbie in the industry to appearing on Whiskey's More Love Less Ego album. It was
Yeah,
one. It was
yeah,
a
exactly,
song we
exactly.
released
Major, major.
in the first few weeks was one of the most performing songs on the album. So
On the album, yeah,
yeah, it's definitely an improvement and a big win for Ayra. She's had good moments. She's I mean, streaming wise, song wise, even shows wise. I think she's had a really fantastic year as well.
uh, and of course, so how in 2022, we saw a lot of, no, 2021 rather, we saw a lot of, oh, she sounds like Thames and all of that, but we didn't really see much of that in 2022. How has she been able to kill that, you know, that particular, you know, people comparing her to
Comparison.
Thames and all of that
I don't
in
think she killed
2022?
anything. I think she stuck to her guns. I think people just kind of like got used to it, right? If people think we are, I mean, they people didn't notice.
Moved on, yeah,
Yeah, I think people moved on, but people just decided, oh, they sound alike and they sound alike. And because Thames was first to become, I mean, a sensation before an Arya Starr.
about
So
it.
obviously, in terms of people who naturally say things like this, it's normal. It happens. When the band first came into the foray and then Duella came
Yeah,
on board,
Durella
the
as well, yeah,
comparison would always surface and things like that. I think people just, I mean, they accepted it, and if there was actually some truth in it, there's no wrong in it
yeah,
because for Wiz to come and say,
yeah,
oh, uh, after Wiz and Thames, the success, who else can I replicate this? And they look at Anaya
yeah,
Star and they are doing
yeah,
two sugar together. So it's not something that it's not wrong for people to think that it's a similarity. But yeah, people
yeah.
moved on and accepted it.
And in 2022, what would you say is Arya Star's biggest win, or has been her biggest win? 2022?
I think the biggest winner still last is between her song Rush, which is a massive record, and appearing on Wizzy's album. Don't forget that when they first performed this record at the closed
Apple
session
event.
Apple event, it
Yeah,
was people were tongues were wagging already. People already were expecting to listen to enjoy that record on More Love Less Ego. And then she appeared on
yeah,
when that release. It was one of the most performing tracks at the start
yeah,
when the album was released. So yeah,
yeah,
it's those are the two biggest wins. Is those are big wins for her, very big wins. Now you can't mention female Nigerian artists and not think about a Arya Starr. There's
yeah,
less people in that space, female Nigerian music artists that are really doing big
yeah,
things. But
yeah,
now you can't even mention top
yeah,
in fact, top three, top four, top five, and you not mention Ayra Starr. And it won't be
yeah,
because of her being on the label, on the big label. It will be because
yeah.
of her work as a musician, her songs, and her achievements so far. I think that's dope for her.
Yeah, there in 2022 we saw a bit of there's bromance. Now I'm saying a cis more like some sort of lovey-dovey thing between herself and of course Tiwa Savage. We also saw between herself and Yemi Alade as well, and a couple of other female artists, but nothing really came out in 2022. From those affiliations and partnerships and trying to even understand terms as well. We're seeing, at the pool, together.
Mhm.
And we thought, oh, these guys are going to give us something. Nothing came out of it in 2022. Why is that?
Well, I think I would say things are in the works. They probably don't want to rush it. I want to believe that they will take advantage of those moments. The women need to bond together more than ever at this very moment.
Yeah.
They need to actually bring themselves up. What's surprising the most is you see.
Mm.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but these guys who are forming these romance, they've been successful to an extent, right? And they've did it
Yeah.
without a cosign of any females and any females. But
Yeah.
there are some other females out there. If I would say, there's several females out there who are on the brink.
Who
Like
are,
they just need
yeah.
that cosign, right? It will
Gucci.
be nice.
Gucci. Gucci.
Not even just with Gucci. I'm talking. Okay, we're talking Gucci. We're talking this new girl
Lade.
Lade. We're talking
Yeah.
Rebecca. We're talking a
Rebecca.
lot of
Yeah.
these ladies are on the brink, and it would mean so much, especially for several other ladies. It will mean so much that if these guys are able to just come, oh, let's just do a record together. You know the way
Together.
a Ti Blaze can come up and Olamide is featuring on it, a
Yeah.
Belashona is coming up, and you see
Yeah.
those moments are very important. A Ashake is on the come up and Bona is on it. You get those cosigns
Yeah.
are very important down the line, and it would make a lot of sense if these guys who are currently at the top, females at the top, and can just look and say, "Oh, I think this lady is doing something nice. I want to jump on the record with her and things
Yeah.
like that." It will look so nice, and I think they can. I mean, it will add so much value to that space of female musicians in Nigeria. That being said, Ayra Starr, yes, she's been staying with all these ladies, and I'm pretty sure something would definitely come out of it. It's just I definitely want to hear. I want to listen to something from Ayra Starr and Thames. I want to
Yeah.
really, really listen to something like that. Her and Yemi they may not necessarily be compatible, but Yemi Alade could, you know, see someone like Gucci, and they could really make the music together.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah.
is not a topic
No, they
today,
have a
so
song together. Yemi and Gucci have a song together.
oh, they do. Oh, that's dope. Then that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. They do. They do have a song. Gucci featuring Yemi. I swear. Yeah. That's I
That's
think number 95 right now on the Apple Music Top 100. Yeah, it's just got
you
in
did
there, and of
consistent.
course, doing really really well. What?
I say you did consistent. Though. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Gucci is amazing actually, and I just
Yeah.
wish her the very best. Yes, we've got Oxlade. as the final artist on this very list of the report card, Oxlade with Kulosa in 2022. Apart from Kulosa, what other thing can you remember? You know, when was that? Um,
The sex tape thing.
I'm sure
The
you
sex
understand what I
tape
mean.
thing. I don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
measure, so I don't know why you don't measure.
I mean,
I think
it,
it
it
was
literally moved on from
whether
that to to Kulosa
yeah it was at the I think at the beginning or late last year. I think that's what it was.
of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
and I think yeah that was it was a moment. I don't know. People will say, "Oh, male privilege," yeah, something like that happened,
yeah,
and he's,
yeah,
if you're a woman now, you know, go something, something. But Tiwa Savage has been able to rubbish those claims
yeah.
anyway. So yeah, I think apart from Kulosa, I think Kulosa was the main money maker for Oxlade.
For
He's
Oxlade,
been
yeah,
working behind the scenes. Everyone knows his talents. Everyone knows what he can bring to the table. And then Kulosa was another big break for him. It's definitely one of his biggest ever records. He was having a similar run or a similar effect as what CK had. You get what CK had,
yeah.
but
Peru as
Kulosa did the
well.
same. Yeah, and what Peru had, and Kulosa did all that for him. He had amazing years off this record. He just needs to build on it right now. He needs to build on it right
Yeah,
now. He has a song with with what's his name, Mayokun.
Mayokun.
At the moment, Bad Boys, which is a dope record and very underrated record right now. But he's that's an attempt of him trying to uh, take advantage of his closer moment. He's also that closer has also earned him what's it called, a sort of fan base in the
An
Latin.
international remix as well
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Camila
yeah,
Cabello. You
exactly.
know,
So
that's
he's on
that's
the look.
that's that's really amazing.
He's on the route. He's on the route to achieving something internationally. As it's been a long time coming for him. Not really a long time, but it's been coming for him, and it's doing well. And kudos to him.
For Kulosa and of course for Oxley 2022, would you
Yeah.
say that dropping Kulosa this year with Colors at first was a master stroke by Oxlade or not?
Well, I don't think um I wouldn't say colors had plenty to do with it, but I think it's just the timing. It happened because when it dropped initially, people were just. I think I can still remember. Was it even early this year or late last year? One of the new music Fridays when Closer dropped. It has to be very early or late last year. That's when Closer dropped, and we
Hmm.
had it on New Music Friday. Then I and Ife, and then we did big it up and say it was a really good record.
Song, yeah,
It took until maybe about 4 or 5 months later before it started
yeah,
to pick grounds. Yeah,
pop, yeah,
and and then it popping was not even by chance. You know that a lot of things goes on behind the scenes for these
yeah,
songs to
yeah,
drop. People first need to see the potential of the
yeah,
record before they actually invest, and they
yeah,
did that, and it's really I would say it really did the business for Oxlade at the right time, and then he performed at so many shows based off Kulosa, and then him
yeah,
doing a Latino remix was also as a result of, I mean, him having a good job with Kulosa. I think Kulosa is what made Oxlade this year, and yeah, and I think
and he's
it's
gotten a
so
couple of certification as well. He's gotten silver in the UK right now, over 200,000. He's gotten in a couple of other countries with
yeah.
Kulosa.
Mm-hmm.
We know there was a way before Kulosa, but would you
Mm-hmm.
say that Kulosa ranks amongst the very top, like ranks highest among the very top Oxley songs ever?
Waka is the most most it's the biggest Oxlade record. It's the number one spot. I don't think there's any other song whether away whether away or this other song. It's his biggest song
Yeah.
ever. It's his biggest song ever. So it's a standalone number one for him at the moment.
Hmm. And 2022 has been that amazing, of course, for Oxlade. I remember the whole um, was it NSAS where his manager himself
Mm-hmm.
were beating and all of that. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
lot of back and forth. And he's
Yeah.
been able to move on from that to the scandal and now to
Mm-hmm.
Kulosa. Uh, Bad Boy was released in 2022 as well. Was still in this year.
Mm.
would you say it's a good follow up to a global smash hit like Colossa?
Well, they're not the same type of records, but I think locally on the scene, it's something that Nigerians or Africans should love. I mean, maybe perhaps they haven't gotten the promotion
A
beat
grip of
right.
it, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they haven't got a group of it yet, but yes, I think it's a good song. But the follow up in terms of Nigerian scene or African scene, definitely.
yeah,
In terms of international scene, you never can tell
yeah,
these days. A lot of Nigerian artists are sticking to their core and making
yeah,
moves internationally. So
yeah.
I wouldn't want to say yeah, it's not the best example, but yeah, it's a good song that I would perhaps do well for him.
Oh, all right. So we need to rate Arya Stars over 100. We need to rate Oxlade over 100. Over to you, Big Lala.
Yes. Ayra Starr, I think she had a fantastic year.
Yeah,
Rush was a jam. Um, she's still having a good year with the Maven album.
yeah,
She's being
amazing.
regarded
Yeah,
as one of one. If it will be hard to take her out of the top three conversation in terms of female
the
artists in
females.
Nigeria.
Yeah,
And I think she's done really well. She deserves a. Well, I think she deserves a 75% rating this year.
over
She's been
100.
out and about and
Okay,
she's delivered greatly. For Oxlade, I think
okay.
he's also had a good year in terms of Colossa. Colossa was the deal
Yeah,
breaker for him. I think he did really well.
yeah,
So I think a 70% rating for him this year. I
mm,
would have liked more records and more activities from him, but
mm,
it's not down to him anyway. But if things happen
yeah,
uh, late in the year or maybe middle of the
yeah,
year, it's really hard to be in people's faces. But
yeah.
yeah, I think he's had a good year too. So 70% is not a bad score for him.
All right. So Burna Boy, 85%, over 100. Arya Star, of course. No, Oxlade first with 70%. Of course, over 100. We have Arya Star with um 75%, and
Seventy-five
we
percent.
have Burna Boy Dog himself with um 85%.
You can ask our viewers
It's
to rate their own. Make them know.
Yeah, of course, guys. We want to hear from you.
Yeah,
Please kindly put your comment down below. Rating, Burna Boy's 2022. It's the report card. What do you think about Burna Boy in 2022? In everything, the music, the shows, the controversies, and all of that. What do you think? Arya Star as well. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Arya Star 2022, the report card, the music, the shows, controversies, and all of that? We also want to hear from you as regards Oxlade as well. What do you think? The music, the shows, the awards, everything about these guys. What exactly do you think about their 2022? Over 100%. 70% for Oxlade, 75% for Arya Star, and of course, 85% for Burna Boy. Put your comment down below. We'll be hearing, I will be seeing everything actually, and we'll comment to as much as many people that we can. Definitely, guys, thank you so much for everything that you do. Big Dala, thank you so much as well. We'll see you guys on the next report card show. Yes, coming very very soon. Please keep it locked right here. It's Gusto TV, Gusto Reactions. We'll see you guys on the very next one. Please stay safe and God bless.
yeah.